I guess I've always been interested in sticking my nose in things and making a bit of a fuss. And luckily, I found out that that's called medical leadership. And so in retrospect, I've always been doing that. I've been, sports captains and reps and on committees and doing all of those things. And as a trainee, I read about the Darzi Fellowship and I just thought that sounds like a really cool opportunity. And I was absolutely right. So I took a year out of programme to be an NHS London Darzi Fellow 2 years ago now, I guess. And I worked in Kingston Hospital with Jane as my local sponsor on improvement projects all around the place, learning through doing, really. And came to the King's Fund 4 times for week-long sessions that were extremely intensive with other Darzi Fellows from all around London, from a variety of backgrounds. So we had psychiatrists and GPs and a few public health, acute people like me. So I'm an anaesthetist by background, I guess I should have said. And we got together as a cohort and learned from each other and took all that energy and the skills that we'd learned back to our trusts to make our improvement projects happen. And it was a really wonderful experience. I mean, it wasn't just a career-changing experience, really. It was a life-changing experience. I've been given a great amount of support through people that I met on the project that I'm still in touch with. And as a cohort of Darzi Fellows, we shared this very intense year that we were all very different from everyone else in our organisation, but we would come together as a group and have some sort of camaraderie there and then go back out again. So that's made us quite tight as a group. So I have that support now, and I do catch up with them very regularly, which is good. But actually, the thing that the Darzi programme gave me was actually permission to do this sort of thing, so that I know now that I can go out and I can do that, which I always had that permission, I just didn't know that I had it before. So now if I want to change something, I can just go out and say, well, I'd like to change it. And I know now that the appetite for managers to have clinicians coming in and say, look, I want to change this and I want to do this and this is growing. So I think that permission to try and permission to just go out there and do it is a massive part of it. And I think there's something to reflect back on how we encourage junior doctors to do that at all levels. And you don't need to go on what apparently was quite an expensive programme for a year to do that. You just need to give them permission in your own organisations to do it. For me, there's new challenges in my clinical responsibilities, and it's a new transition up to another level. But actually, the leadership development I've done has really helped with that, because it's made me see that transition was coming and that challenge was coming, and I've put things in place to hopefully deal with that as best I can. So support from other people, time for me to reflect, people in the organisation and outside the organisation that I can talk to. And so I'm very grateful for the development I've had that's made that normal transition that everyone goes through, hopefully just a little bit easier. And for me, there's something about leadership responsibilities too that I was obviously prepared for, having done the programme and having been that sort of person. But a lot of people ask you to do things, and I guess something that's a challenge for me is starting to say no to some of that too. The other challenge for me that no one's mentioned, and maybe there's an interesting reason why they don't, is that I've got 2 small children and I'm a busy mum. And so for me to have clinical responsibilities, which are very important, and leadership responsibilities, and also responsibilities in the home, makes life quite busy. And I think for leadership to be truly inclusive, we have to think about how we enable people to manage their outside lives as well as their work lives, to make some work-life balance, so that actually busy mums and busy dads and other people who have busy lives can still partake in this very important thing. But actually the most important challenge for me is the fulfilling the promise that other people have clearly seen in me. I've had some great development and some investment, which is not only money, but it's also time and resource and money. And now it's coming from me, it's not coming from anyone else, that I think that, a cheque has been written, and now it's my job to cash that and to fulfil the expectation that other people have shown of me. So for me personally, that's a big challenge for me moving forward. And the support I have to do that is the support that I've always had. I've got the Darzi cohort, who we meet up with regularly. We still have action learning sets that meet. Now we're back in our trusts and back in our normal jobs. We've come away from the dark side. We're back doing a proper job and meeting up with each other to talk about those challenges and talk about how we basically repay the faith that other people have shown in us. My perspective now is that I'm the same as my colleagues, but I'm not. I'm different because I've had lots of investment put in me, and I look at things from a slightly different perspective. And it's about being a boat rocker, so rocking the boat and saying things that are slightly challenging and unusual, but actually not falling out of the boat, still staying in it, and still having relationships with your direct colleagues, even though you can be slightly challenging to them. So we can be optimistic that those people are there, and we can protect them and support them. And then I faithfully believe that the future is very optimistic and bright in the hands of the group of people that are coming through.